Hey, what's up, guys? It's Philip Castle, and today I'm going to give you a walkthrough of some of the sessions that I worked on Missing You in with Sender. So this is the first initial session, and this is actually the stems that Sender sent me. And I'm going to take you through different sessions that I worked on in the process. So we'll just take a listen to the stems initially here. So you can tell the bass line's a little bit different. It's a little bit slower and not as upbeat. A little bit longer notes. You can notice that the chords are also a little bit different. But there's certain things that I really liked, like that little guitar note in the background, that little clock tick, which is really cool. Loved these little toms, and we kind of incorporated them when we brought in the beat here in the breakdown. But as you can kind of tell, I'll just play the main drop. Sounds really, really cool, but you know, to me, just didn't really sound like a Philip Castle track. And so when I heard these initial stems, I thought, okay, there's some really great ideas here. Let's extract a few things I really, really like and start building maybe like a little bit of a new idea on top of it. And so that's what we did. So this is the second session that I worked on Missing You in. And I took some of the initial ideas that Sender had and added a little bit of my own flavor to it. So a lot of what I did was I changed a lot of the drums. So I added, I changed the kick. I love this kick. I've used it in a couple of my tracks. Added a new like grittier kind of snare, which is 4 different layers you can see here. Some from my old tracks, some from my buddy J-Tech's favorite snares. Took some of his hi-hats, but also added a bunch of my new ones. Give it a little bit more of a driving rhythm. With some loops and stuff in here. Some different fills, which I took from Sender and also chopped up my own. So kind of made the track a little bit more driving, bringing up the energy a little bit. And then I took some of his bass sounds and I started playing around with them. And what I love doing is using this Soundtoys Tremolator plugin. And so I'll play you with the bass I took. I chop up a bunch of stuff. I love just like working in audio. It's kind of like therapeutic for me. So I took his initial bass line, which I could play. And what I did is I added a tremolator to it. So I made it to this. And then I pitched this one up. I actually use this transpose button a lot in Logic. So I pitched up the audio up an octave. And so I also did this with his mid bass that he had, which if you take off all the plugins was this. Very cool, but once you put on all the plugins, and one plugin that's doing a lot is this Maserati like acoustic guitar plugin. I saw Audien use it once in a lecture he gave, and I've been using it sometimes on my sound. So I'll just play it without. It's a little bit dull. This just brightens it up like a ton. And yeah, just from there, just started layering my own other sounds on it. Chopping up some loops from Sonny Lax here. Adding, this is an Alan Watts bass here. And so, started to sound a little bit more like the completed track. Oh, I have a sub bass here. This is like the sub I love to use. Yeah, just giving it a little bit more of a gritty rhythm. And so we have the kick here. I can play it with the kick. In the final version, we actually shortened this from a minute to 45 seconds. And it just to make it a little bit shorter and cleaner. And I thought it was really cool. So once we did that, we get to this part. And I kept a lot of the aspects that Sender had in already. So, his arps and his plucks and stuff like that. We eventually got rid of them, but this is just like another step along the way. And we eventually got to this breakdown. And this is kind of where the track really started to take shape on top of the new bass line is I changed the chord pattern. So before it was A, G, A minor, F, sorry, A minor, G, F, and then G. And I changed it to A minor, F, G, and E minor after playing with it for a little bit, just kind of like noodling around on the keyboard. So here's the new chord pattern. Added some plucks in. I love these plucks from the Darren Porter and Sean Tyas pack. It's from Freshly Squeezed samples. Just have a few presets I really gravitate towards, like this Parent's Daughter and D34 DC4T, whatever that is. And Sender actually loved this new chord pattern, and so he ran the new chords. I sent him the MIDI through his pads, and so I have a stem for that here. And then we added the vocal, and so this is where I got the Missing You vocal. A little bit rough now, not that many effects, but there's this deluxe vocal collection from Cymatics that has a lot of really cool vocals in it that I love to use. So put it all together right now. And if you ever don't know what effects to use, just take some effects from a past track that you did and throw them in, and it often works. So the real piece of this puzzle that wasn't complete right now is, what do we do for the main drop that's going to keep this energy up? And so I fiddled around for a lot and I hit a wall. This is when I hit a wall, and this was my initial idea. So it's cool, but the energy is so much different from this part. Play that and then you play this. It almost feels like it's a different track. And so, after banging my head against the wall, I said, you know what, I'm going to send this back to Sender. And, what he did in this next part of the track really helped us bring it to the finish line. And so that I'll show you in the next session. Hey, so I'm back here with the third session that I worked on for Missing You. And this is the final session that I worked on the track in. And so after Sender sent me the stems back, he did a little bit more work and added some elements. I took them and I kind of started playing around with them a little bit more. You'll see we kind of have the same kick. I added another snare layer, a little bit of an impact, which I'm not sure he kept in. Kind of chopped up the hi-hats a little bit. And added a couple more hi-hats as well to maybe just add a little bit more flavor. The fills are just, this is a little bit insane, but I have almost like 20 tracks for fills here. And it's like a couple claps and a tom or something like that. So probably not necessary, but it works. So with fills, what I like to do is I like to chop up fill. I take some full fills, and I also like to chop up samples and kind of throw them in audio as well. Without the claps, actually, it's a little bit different. The claps kind of add a lot here. Yeah, with that nice echo there. Used it on my track Horizon with Koya, just really, really worked. And so I threw those into here. The bass, what I did is I took the stems I sent to him, I reduced a lot of the work. And so we have the original stems from my session, and there's a response combo, I think. And then, there's a couple more here. And then what I did is I just started adding like some more layers that I thought sounded really, really good. Um, there is just a little bit of MIDI stuff there. That's the layer I really love. That adds like so much crunch. It's called Captain Crunch. It's in this Protoculture pack from Black Octopus for Spire. Yeah, a nice little crunchy saw, of course. Yeah, and just some other stuff in the background. So this is when the bass starts really, really taking shape. So that kind of sounds like that sounds like the finished track. As you can kind of tell, this section here is a minute long. We actually shortened that for the final version. So it comes in a little bit slower. There's no hi-hats here. And so we basically took this and shortened it in half. And I think that really works, especially for DJ mixing. What's really cool about this new version is I took some new sounds and I made what I'd call the other bass, just to add a little bit of variation to the 16th note bass that's happening. Kind of like nice zipper bass. And so playing that with the 16th bass when it comes in sounds really, really nice. I'll just solo all of these. Yeah, just like, just adds a little bit more flavor. And then all the melodic stuff that's happening here is a little bit like, just to stay in the background a little bit, give a little bit flavor as the song progresses. The main hook here is this Missing You vocal. And what I did is I put a sound shifter plugin on here and I automated the pitch and created a riser with it. So, we have the original effects here and I've added some of my own additional effects here as well. You can kind of tell the sender stems have an X prefix to them. And so as we get to the breakdown here, this is stuff I love to do. I love to put a lot of atmospheric stuff. And so, just adding a little bit of a atmospheric bed for the sound. And so all this stuff is just kind of stuff I found from packs and chopped up. Love this like Holly Drummond vocal atmospheres pack. I took the bass that we have. I love this break bass. It's from a Hyperbits pack actually. And I layered it with something that has a little bit more like eighth note driving rhythm. Added some piano chords. There's maybe a couple extra things in the background here that didn't get used, but have some other plucks, some additional pads. So this is like a lot of stuff that was there, but a lot of new stuff I added, and then you kind of bring the stuff in that we had before. And then the sender's piano. Really starting to take shape, and this is the new lead, and I put new lead question mark here. And yeah, that really kind of brought everything home. Really gives it that beautiful emotional feel. And with my pianos, my secret trick, I mean, it's not so secret, is Logic's tape delay. Cut off the low end, cut off the high end, lots and lots of feedback on a quarter note. This Ben Lung Somna showed me this Temple One preset pack for Arts Acoustic, and there's this huge ambient preset that I love. The one thing that you should tweak is you bring down the wet just a little bit. Sometimes it can be a little bit too much, but yeah, it makes it sound so massive. If I take it off, it's nice. But but you hear that like, that huge delay, like that huge space from the reverb, even when I stop playing it, just adds so much. Yeah, vocals.
Got me missing you.
This is after I think we added some effects to them.
Got me missing you.
Again, just like nice delay, nice reverb, just creating a nice atmosphere. And so, we had the breakdown basically done here. Oh yeah, there's I'm sorry I forgot about the breakbeat. This is something we did also with Control U. Added some cymbals, so we have like, what I kind of found some breakbeats from this Dave Parkinson Trance Essentials 2-pack, time stretched them, cut them up a little bit, added some cymbals, and then just added the original toms and clock sounds. And with everything, and so this is kind of when the track really started to take shape. As you'll start to hear, there's this new, like, really epic saw synth that gets brought in here, and Sender called this the X-Fire synth. And what I did is I took some of my favorite presets from Silence. This is Dubs or Lower preset that I love, that I tweak a bit, and just layered it on top. So, now we're getting somewhere, right? This is like a massive drop, really beautiful chunky bass, really just high energy. Actually what Sender did with this after I sent it back to him was kind of a lot of the real magic of this track, which brought it home. This kind of sounds like the current drop. This starts building up. The synth starts building up a little bit, and kind of breaks down a little bit in the fifth gear section. Gets the piano riff back in there. But, kind of feels a little bit empty here. We still have the piano coming back. We still have the bass coming back, but I don't know, there's a little bit of space. And so I got to the point where I said, hey, we're at a really good point here, but this kind of drop 2 lead wasn't as great as, we could maybe get it. It's cool, but it wasn't super original. It was kind of just like, a saw synth being held down for a note, which is great. But so I sent it back to Sender, and this took a little bit of time, but maybe a month or so passes, and he sends me back this final idea he has, which has this arpeggiated saw synth in it. That is basically the final track now. And I was like, man, that's amazing. We tweaked a couple things here and there in the process. I kind of gave him some comments and some feedback. And then, like, after sending it to the label, the team at Enhanced really liked it, just giving us a couple, minor pieces of feedback to bring it home. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I think it's a really great example of how, it feels to work with somebody else. With producing, sometimes you hit walls and you don't know where to take things. And by being able to bounce things back and forth, sometimes it really helps bring your track to the best of its potential. And Missing You is a collaboration where I think that you can really hear both of our signature sounds shining through. We both contributed a lot of different stuff to it. And yeah, I'm really happy about where it is, and I'm really, really pleased that it's coming out on Enhanced Progressive. So I hope that you liked this walkthrough, the few sessions that I showed you. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on social media and ask me them. And thanks. Hope to see you maybe on the dance floor soon.